Hi, welcome back to the Rough Example Datsun 510 project. I've got a few updates for you this weekend. I've been working on getting the rear end put into the car. Um, so that was a little bit myself, just single-handedly, because it's pretty heavy. But I assembled everything outside of the car um, and then put it on a couple of jacks and was able to maneuver it up onto the posts that hold it on. Um, a couple of things. Um, got this Fab sway bar that I installed on there. Um, and that one was a little bit tricky. The instructions were kind of hard to tell what was going on. Um, but basically, what I had to do is drill a couple of holes in the cross member here, and you attach this diamond plate to the bar, and then drill the holes, um, and you have to fish like a U-bolt up through it to hold it on there. And then the other part that is a little interesting is I'm running air shocks back here, and normally the sway bar just hooks onto this bottom post right here. I think there was a factory bump stop in there, which I had to cut out. So anyway, I ended up finding some extra long bolts that basically hold the clevis on there and run all the way up through into the bottom of the airbag. Um, and then I had to modify the um, mounts in here a little bit. Um, so normally there's just a single hole right here. So I enlarged that hole so that I could fit the air fitting. And then I actually cut in two slotted holes right here for to bolt the top of the bag in, and that took a long time. I just had to drill the holes and then get in there with a what do you call it, like a die grinder with a carbide bit, and build those slotted holes so that I have a little bit of adjustment in there if I need it. But those are in. Um, One other thing I've been working on is these silver pieces right here. They hold the door card onto the door, and the paint was all scratched up, so I sanded those down, put a fresh coat of silver paint, some clear coat on them, and then got those reinstalled. And so those are kind of the main things I've done this week. Been working on getting the brakes situated. I got the carriers repainted. Stripped those down, painted them, reinstalled them, and so those are ready to go. I've got the calipers over here. These are off of a 280ZX. Um, and for whatever reason, the previous owner had ground this down with a grinder, and it looked really bad. I think maybe they were trying to clear some smaller wheels or something like that. So I took a grinder and kind of smoothed it out a little bit. But I'm just working on getting these cleaned up. There's still a lot of rust and stuff on there I need to get off before I can get those repainted. But so those are getting close. Still got a few more brake lines to rebuild. Got just piles of all of those. I've kind of been procrastinating. Um, Another thing I've been up against this week is trying to get these tires mounted on the wheels. Um, these are three-piece wheels that were built out of two sets of um, barrels. So basically, I think these came in like a 6.5 inch wide um, fitment originally, and so they took like two of these rear barrels, bolted them together, and that kind of caused some problems for the tire shop because normally this recess would be like over here, and that allows you, like when you're trying to mount the tire, and you kind of put it through there, normally the bead would drop into that recess. But since the recess is clear up here, it makes it like really hard to get that down in there. So the tire shop actually ended up tearing the bead on the tire, took a big old chunk out of it, and they were really cool about it. They ordered me a new tire free of charge, but they just kind of said like, "Hey, we can't do this." So now I got to go find a shop that can install these tires on here. I'm not even doing like a crazy stretch. Like this is a 225 50 15 on a 9-inch wide wheel. So I mean, it's not like insane, but just kind of a tight fit with it, the way that these wheels were constructed. So anyway, I think that's going to look pretty good, providing I can get them on there. I wanted kind of a thicker profile, kind of a rounded sidewall profile that would complement the fender arches. I also been trying to get the arches ready. I got these all cleaned up, but unfortunately they still have a lot of like fine scratches on them and stuff, like that, you know, like it just doesn't get me super excited to put these on my newly painted car. So I think what I'm going to do is paint these with some trim black. I have seen on a lot of like Japanese cars, they'll have the aftermarket flares painted with like a kind of a graphite color where it's not quite black, it just has a little metallic in it. So I want to try and figure that out. If anybody knows what product to use, that would be really helpful. You could put that in the comments. But these will be theoretically going on soon. So also got my grill that needs to get refinished. You can see that the old paint is chipping off, and this has got, I'm honestly not sure if that is rust or red primer on there. So this has all got to get polished out. And then the other thing I've been working on today is the gas tank. I threw a fresh coat of paint on that. It's just right there. Strip that down and hit it with some primer and some black engine paint that is supposed to be fuel resistant. So if I get any spills on it, it should be fine. But yeah, I'm just kind of waiting for that to dry and harden off so I can put that back in the car. The other thing I'm working on is the parking brake cable. So, you know, I'm going to work on installing this. Maybe we can catch it on the video, but normally this car has like a T handle under the dashboard for the emergency brake, but I want to switch it to an actual like hand brake. And so I'm looking at doing a 280ZX conversion on that. I have all the parts. So I got this from my buddy Dean, who has done this kit before, this conversion. And basically you mount this bracket on here somehow. Honestly, not sure if it goes there or maybe down here. And then the brake would just bolt onto there. So then you just have to drill a hole and then mount this guy on the underside of the car, and then you hook this in, you know, into the factory lever that's underneath there. So yeah, still just kind of trying to figure out how this is supposed to work. It's kind of hard because I don't have the seats in here. Like I'm not sure what the driver position is going to be. like I was noticing if I mount it on the top of here, it sits really high. Um, so, I mean, the shifter would normally be up here, but with the KA swap, the whole thing has been moved back. So you have the shifter right there. You don't want to be bashing it into that. And then if I go over here, I don't know if that's going to contact seats. So I might just have to kind of let this ride for a minute until I get my seats figured out. But, theoretically, I'm going to have a handbrake in here. So that'll be nice for being able to drift or, doing stuff like that you wouldn't be able to do with a T-handle. So that, yeah, just working on that. Yeah, I think that's all my updates for today. I appreciate you guys watching, and hopefully this is informational for you if you're building a Datsun, and hopefully it can help you out, because one thing I've found is that I really wish I would have recorded more videos of disassembling this stuff beforehand. I did try to take some video, but like I've been working on the fuel lines down here, and you can see these fuel lines, and I'm just having the hardest time figuring out exactly where they run. I think I'm getting close on this one, but the return line, I'm really not sure if that goes up in there or where exactly. So yeah, shoot lots of video if you're working on one of these. And if you happen to own a 510, send me photos of the underside of your car where your fuel lines go. So that is about it for today. Thanks for watching, and have a good Saturday.